Good morning, everybody. First of all, thoroughly enjoyed last evening's chat with James Black, which resulted in us agreeing that we'll do another one in a week or two's time. However, getting back on the train, as it were, I wanted to look, obviously we looked at why Teresa Halbach. I think it was quite obvious that she was the ideal candidate from the framers' point of view. Not sure exactly what happened to her, when it happened to her, whereabouts. Although I would certainly not disagree with Kathleen Zellner's findings so far. Not sure who is involved in what. You know, one of the things that Dean and Jerry pointed out, you know, was that you know, some people knew exactly what to do in order to get law enforcement to do what they did. And my main suspects are the ones that Kathleen Zellner suspect. But obviously we've got this mysterious tall man, almost 60 years old, maybe 60, with a grey beard, long grey beard. Who is this particular character? What is he doing with Bobby? Why does he not want to be even seen? Anyway, let's have a look at the main suspects. Now, I don't want this to sound alarming. We're going to go in reverse order, if you like. You know, the least likely suspects we'll look at first. And of course, the least likely are, in fact, Stephen Brendan. Although obviously for some of the guilters, they have a huge problem with Steven Avery. It's not just that they think he's guilty, but they think he's guilty because they dislike him. And, you know, even going back, I mean, when we look at the 85 Penny Bernstein incident, people were convinced that, yeah, that's definitely within character for Steven Avery. You know, he's just getting worse and worse. His behavior is just getting intolerable, driving Sandy Morris off the road, pointing a gun at her. It was, you know, it was just getting beyond a joke with Steve and his shenanigans. And of course, when he was convicted in 1985, it was, as the Americans say, a slam dunk, even though Steven Avery was able to produce dozens of witnesses, including Pete Dassey, that said, no, we were with him on the afternoon, and then producing the Shopco receipt that showed that, you know, 75 minutes later, an hour and 15 minutes later, he's in Green Bay. You know, the time frame just doesn't add up. But of course, the court found that the jury found Steve guilty. Because of, obviously, Penny Bernstein being this respectable, you know, well-to-do woman around Manitowoc, and Steven Avery lives on a scrapyard. And I'll say the reason it was a slam dunk, of course, is because witnesses and victims, a victim of an attack like that is not going to forget who attacked her, is she? You know, obviously she's going to remember who it was, and she said it was Steven Avery. She was convinced it was Steven Avery. And of course, the thing is that, as I say, a little bit like Tom Fallon, you know, innocent people don't confess. You know, victims of violent crime will not make an eyewitness mistake. At least so everybody thought. And I'm sure that Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department, Tom Kosurik, Judy Dvorak, and the others, I'm pretty sure they thought that Steven Avery, given a 32-year sentence, is going to realize, hold on a sec, I need to just accept, okay, I did it, and then, you know, show some remorse, and then he'll be out in a you know, in a much reduced time. But no, he was determined that he would not admit to something he didn't do. And of course, well, it proved, didn't it, that by DNA that Steven Avery was innocent? Or did it? Because remember, Jean Couchet, you know, he's not sure. As he states, he had his doubts. Where did the DNA come from? How did it get there? You know, America, as I've often chatted with the dude about, is, or used to talk to him about, America is a huge place. For most Americans, America is their world. A lot of Americans will never go anywhere other than other states in America. And, you know, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I'm not criticizing them, but Americans like to say that they're the best at everything, you know, and that, you know, as I say, to them, America is their world. They're not interested in anything else. They have in baseball, they have a World Series competed for by teams from America. The Super Bowl winners of the Super Bowl each year are proclaimed the world champions. And obviously, not surprising for us, the American legal system is the best in the world. Or is it? I'm not sure about that. Let's see if I can shed some light on that. In fact, I'll give you the list first of all. I'll give you the list and then, oh, there, hold on a sec, yeah. I'll do the rundown first of all. America, best in the world. Not quite. In first place, we have Denmark. Now, so just to explain, these are the latest, this is the latest survey from the World Justice Project of 2020. And they take into account fundamental rights, government powers, and corruption. Okay, so America isn't even in the top 10. Number 1 is Denmark. Number 2, Norway. Number 3, Finland. Number 4, Sweden. Number 5, Netherlands. Some people refer to it as Holland, but the full title is Netherlands. Number 6, Germany. Number 7, New Zealand. Austria comes in at number 8, Canada at number 9, and Estonia at number 10. Now, the good news for Australia and the United Kingdom is Australia 11, Singapore 12, United Kingdom 13. No, still no America. Belgium 14th. Japan 15, Hong Kong 16, Republic of Korea come in 17th, the Czech Republic come in 18th, in 19th place we have Spain, and in 20th place we have France. USA comes in next, 21st, just ahead of Uruguay. Let me just go through these 2 pages so you can see for yourself. Here's the rundown. Number 1, Denmark. Number 2, as I say, is Norway. Number 2, Norway. There we go. There's United States, 21st. The figure at the side here is showing its change of place since the previous survey. 22nd is Uruguay, 13th, UK, 17th place, Republic of Korea, Holland, Netherlands, 5th place, New Zealand, 7th, Sweden, 4th. Have I missed any there? Yeah, there we go. Spain in 19th, Singapore, 12. Let's go back up to the top page again. 15th, as I say, is Japan. 16th, Hong Kong. 6th place, Germany. There we go. 3rd place, Finland. 20th place, France. Estonia in 10th. And this side, we've got Australia 11th, Austria 8th, Belgium 14th, just behind the UK and Canada. One would have thought Canada would perhaps be slightly higher, but along with Australia, but anyway, and 18th, the Czech Republic. So, you know, as I say, America is a big place. I get it. You know, it's to some people that is their world. But as I say, when it came to Steven Avery, they thought it was a slam, what they call a slam dunk. You know, you've got this witness, the victim herself, who's able to say that, yeah, it's definitely Steven Avery. End of story. And that's really what happened in 2005, isn't it? You know, all this evidence that points towards Steve, this blood in the RAV4, his blood in the RAV4. We know that, well, I've heard, not that I know, but I've heard experts talk about the fact that murdering somebody, you know, in a violent manner can cause one to cut themselves. Hence, we've got this bloody handprint on the back of the RAV4. Whose is that? Could that be the bearded man or somebody else that pushed the RAV just after having attacked Teresa and having actually managed to cut themselves somehow? We've got, so as I say, we've got this blood in the RAV4, which obviously is hugely incriminating against Steve, or is it? It's just pathetic, isn't it? It's just little drops in certain places. It didn't. the blood spatter expert in series 2, you know, the dots don't line up. The dots aren't even on the same page, was what one of the experts said that was particularly good. This DNA of the hood latch, 90 times more what it should be, because quite clearly Wiegert switched the groin strop. The DNA on the key, only Steve's, far too much. Again, something like 20 times too much DNA, but only Steve's, none of Teresa's. You know, that's as Bates says, you know, that is patently, Pete Bates says, is that patently ridiculous? You know, it's just bizarre. Obviously, the magic bullet, the magic key, that is just absolutely mind blowing, isn't it? You know, there's bits of wood in this bullet, and then there's, you know, this key that only got found after the sixth search. It was on the 7th search. And for those of you that don't remember this, but I actually, between April and September of 2016, I had several very long conversations with Robert Herman, and I could tell the embarrassment in his voice when he said, by the way, these searches of Stephen's bedroom, you know, some of them were just 10-minute sweeps. And it's like, Robert, seriously, that room is tiny. You know, to find a pair of keys would only take 10 minutes. You could easily dismantle that room, pull everything away, and have found that key in just 10 minutes. But, you know, 3 of the searches were lengthy, hour-long plus searches. No, I think it's obvious that Steven Avery, this poster boy for wrongful convictions, while some in Wisconsin liked him, there was clearly some in Wisconsin that didn't, and that maybe shared this point of view of Jean Couchet. You know, has Steve been let out on just a technicality, this DNA evidence? Personally, I think all of these what should you call them, tests that people do, these you know, like the teeth mark analysis, hair analysis, at times these should only be used to exclude somebody, certainly not to include somebody. Yeah. As I say, some of these tests that are being done, I noticed that Chris Fabricant has brought a book out, which I've got on order, that looks at the, if you like, the junk science. DNA certainly isn't junk science. The big elephant in the room, though, is that you can you can get your DNA where you don't expect it by some of the, you know, the bizarrest of ways. You know, how did that DNA get onto that hood latch? Well, the bottom line is it never did get on the hood latch. It was just a case of switch the swabs over. So anyway, getting back to Steve, you know, he is along with Brendan, most likely. The one thing that always sticks in my mind was that in one of the interviews with Brendan, they actually got to discussing motive. You know, why was Steve the brains behind it? I would imagine Steve was the brains behind it, yeah. And why did he want to do it? You know, it wasn't because he was sexually depraved and just wanted to attack any woman that came to the yard. No, Brendan's reason for it being Steve wanting to hurt Teresa, was actually that he wanted to go back to prison. Yeah, he didn't like being in the outside world anymore. He wanted to go back to prison. Well, if that's the case, he's doing a damn good effort to try and get back out again, isn't he? You know, what is it? He just can't make up his mind? No, of course not. Brendan's confession. You know, if normal police officers had gone and interviewed Brendan the way you're supposed to, rather than feed him in the facts, once they'd got the statement from Brendan, if he made a statement incriminating himself, they should have looked at that and said, we can't go to court with that. That's just garbage. It's just all over the place. None of the facts match. You know, none of this can be corroborated. You know, we don't believe you. In fact, we're going to charge you for wasting police time. Could Steve have done it? Again, what motive? What possible motive would he have for doing it? Not only that, but he'd have to be the biggest criminal mastermind of all time. He's even managed to dupe Kathleen Zellner into thinking that he's innocent. As I say, he was found guilty, yeah. Steve and Brendan were found guilty, based entirely, almost entirely, on the fact that when it came to the court of public opinion, they just didn't like Steve. They didn't like the fact that he was out following the, you know, the 85 case. Although some people, you know, were holding him up as this poster boy, because that would have really irked other people, you know, especially the ones in Manitowoc that would remember the, you know, the burglary, the cat, the penny, the Sandy Morris stuff, and just in general. Amongst some of the better to do in the community, the Avery Salvage Yard was considered somewhere that, you know, I wouldn't want to go there. No, you don't want to go there. Just image. It's you know, people living in trailers on a scrapyard. It's not their idea of what certainly Manitowoc County. If you've ever been to Manitowoc County, and if you get the chance, please do go. It's really beautiful there. You know, but you've got some really nice, well-to-do people there, and really nice properties. You know, you can just imagine the dichotomy between Penny Bernstein and Steven Avery. You know, as I say, for me, I think there are some guilters out there that want to defend the legal system, saying, you know, it's the best in the world. We've got the best experts. We've got the best this, the best that. No, you haven't. But some of them, they're just blinded by hatred of Steve and Brendan. They have difficulty and possibly don't even accept that Steve was innocent back in 85. And they certainly can't accept, you know, if you look at if you just list the basic facts, you know, blood in the RAV4, you know, the DNA, his DNA on the key, his DNA on the hood latch, the bullet, the key. You know, if this was all genuine evidence, you know, then yeah, there's your case. But it's not. It's that the fact is that every single item of evidence put forward by the state has been impeached, basically, by Kathleen Zellner. And then when we get to see the kind of devious underhand tactics that that have gone on here, although, as I say, devious and underhand, they are in some ways as cruel and malicious as killing an innocent photographer is to put two innocent people in a cage for the rest of their lives. You know, as Kathleen Zellner once said, you know, what they've done to Steve and Brendan is to bury them alive, which, as I say, just shows the cruelty or the desperation of the sheriff's department, and particularly Kosurik, and particularly Dennis Vogel. Anyway, as I say, I've done that like a list of 10 of the suspects that I've got. I remember once Kathleen Zellner tweeting about the fact that she'd got 5 suspects. I think I've got 10 on my list. So coming in last place, well in last place, because it's physical impossibility for it to have been Steve and Brendan, but they're the ones locked up at the moment. So, as I say, I'm going to shut up and suggest that if you want to leave comments below, as usual, that they all get read, and we'll work through my little list bit by bit until we get to number 1. I think you can guess who that is. So I'm going to say cheerio and catch you all again soon. Thanks for tuning in. Bye for now.